एकम् अक्षरम् हृदि निरन्तरम् भासते स्वयं लिख्यते ततम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहम् अहम् इति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम् देहं मृण्मयवत् जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तत भावशुक्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः ओहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्टात्मनिष्ठात्मना सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday satsang from Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning, as is usual, we'll be reading from the work Guru Vachaka Kovai by Muruganar Swamigal. We'll be reading 2 verses. Each verse reading will be followed by a meditation on its meaning, that followed by a practice session of 10 minutes of Atma Vicharam. After these 2 segments of verse reading, meditation on meaning, and the practice of Atma Vicharam are completed, there will be summing up remarks by our President, Dr. Sharadaka. That will be followed by the offering of Sri Ramanashtotram by Vaibhavji and Pratnama, and we will join them in offering self-enquiry at that time today. With Bhagavan's immense grace, we begin this evening satsang by taking the first verse selected for us, verse number 207. Verse number 207. This is in the segment Investigation into the Truth, which is followed by two more segments, the meditation on the truth and the experience of the truth. So we come upon this verse 207 under the sub-segment, the truth of Namaskaram. The truth of Namaskaram. There is a note from Padamale and also from the work Sri Ramana Darshanam. We start the verse reading. Verse 207 under the segment Investigation into Truth, the sub-segment, the truth of Namaskaram. The significance of the imperfect Jiva's Namaskaram when he places his proud head beneath the holy feet of his master is the subduing of the individual consciousness, the Jiva Bodham, that proclaims itself as I, and its subjugation by Shiva consciousness, the Shiva Bodham. The significance of the imperfect Jiva's Namaskaram when he places his proud head beneath the holy feet of his master is the subduing of the individual consciousness, the Jiva Bodham, that proclaims itself as I, and its subjugation by Shiva consciousness, Shiva Bodham. Now the notes. Namaskaram generally denotes a physical prostration, but Bhagavan gave it a higher meaning. Bhagavan in Padamale. The true meaning of Namaskaram is the ego bowing its head and getting destroyed at the feet of the Guru. The true meaning of Namaskaram is the ego bowing its head and getting destroyed at the feet of the Guru. That is Padamale. We come to the note from Sri Ramana Darshanam. A certain lady who had a lot of devotion performed a traditional ritual for worshipping sages whenever she came into Bhagavan's presence to have darshan. She would prostrate to Bhagavan, touch his feet, and then put the hands that touched Bhagavan's feet on her eyes. After noting that she did this daily, Bhagavan made the following remarks. Only the Supreme Self, which is ever shining in your heart as the reality, is the Sadguru. Only the Supreme Self, which is ever shining in your heart as the reality, is the Sadguru. The pure awareness, which is shining as the inward illumination I, is his gracious feet. The contact with these, the inner holy feet, alone can give you true redemption. Joining the eye of the reflected consciousness, the Chidabhasa, which is your sense of individuality, Jiva Bodha, to those holy feet, which are the real consciousness, is the union of the feet and the head. That is the real significance of the word Asi. As these inner holy feet can be held naturally and unceasingly hereafter, with an inward turned mind, cling to that inner awareness that is your own real nature. This alone is the proper way for the removal of bondage and attainment of the supreme truth. Asi, which means are, refers to the Mahavakya Tat Tuvam Asi. You are that Tat Tuvam Asi, that thou art. Bhagavan's metaphor indicates that the inner state of being is revealed when the individuality is merged in the holy feet of pure consciousness. So, the explanation has been done by the notes, which makes it very clear that when Bhagavan used to be prostrated thus, and when somebody makes a habit out of it or a public portrayal of it, one can see Bhagavan will try to stop them from doing that and give the true meaning of the word Namaskaram. The role of Satsangh is also indicated by Bhagavan through these teachings, that whenever we meet as Ramana devotees, the exterior meeting is not to be made fuss of. The exterior coming into contact or the namaskaram we do to each other is not to be made much fuss of. Just like the prostration at the feet of the Guru, the bringing together of the two hands in equal friends when we meet. This should also remind us that the outer is not the real friend. The real friend is the consciousness within, the true self within, the pure consciousness within. And our everyday namaskaram, indicating of love of friendship, can also be taken as the reminder that Bhagavan is saying that true love, true union, true namaskaram is to take the I thought, which arises as separate from the source and runs after the mental, emotional and sensory objects, to draw it from these objects. Shanair uparame buddhya dhriti grihitaya atma samstam manakritva na kinchidapi chintayet. So every moment, because of the proclivities, the mind, the I thought is anxious or is being driven by the vasanas to run after mental proclivities, emotional proclivities or sensory object proclivities. One should withdraw them from those and fix them in the Atma with the Bhagavan's quest of who am I. Two verses from Bhagavad Gita that Bhagavan takes from the Bhagavad Gita to compose or to bring together the Bhagavad Gita Saram. Two verses refer to the Atma Vicharam. One of the verses is this: Shaner Paramet Buddhya Dhritigrihi Atma Samstam Manakritva Na Kinchidapi Chintayet. That is true Namaskaram. Whenever we feel like giving respect to Bhagavan, there cannot be a kinder being to any of us devotees than Bhagavan, Ramana, who took birth in 1879 to save us definitely. There is no doubt about that. But that Bhagavan is saying so clearly that if you want to do namaskaram to me, do not stop merely with the touching of the feet and all the parts of the body in Sashtanga Namaskaram in the temple. That is not denied. But if you want to really go to the significance of Namaskaram, take that I thought, which runs away. Bhagavan says to a devotee, you cannot fool me with these Namaskarams, external Namaskarams, genuflections, and other things. The genuflection is the putting of the cross like that, and other symbols through which we indicate our respect, our deep devotion for Bhagavan. And Bhagavan is saying through this verse that true devotion, true respect is shown if you take that I thought and merge it with that source, which is the two lovely feet of Bhagavan, which is omnipresent. And this union is the Asi Tattva, says Bhagavan. Tat Tvam Asi. We feel we are very close to ourselves, but Tat, the Brahman, the world is far away from that, that is Idam. But Tat is even more far away, is our imagination. The usual feeling is that we are here, the world goes into so many light years, the universe goes into so many light years of expansion, and Brahman is even beyond that. But Bhagavan says in Upadesha Manjari that Upadesha means by which Guru brings that which appears to be very, very far away, the Guru's feet, the Tat, which appears to be very far away, the Guru Upadesha brings it very near. Upadesha means that seat which is very nearby. And Bhagavan through his Upadesham brings the feet of the Guru, the self, right within us as the substratum of the I thought. So it need not, the I thought need not go out and seek in the cosmos. But Tat, the Tvam, what it has to do? The Tvam has to seek its source, and the merging of the Tvam with the Tat, with the self, that merging, that true Namaskaram itself is Asipada Tattvam. Asipada Tattvam means that which is. That which really is the union of the Tat and Tvam. The Tvam is never apart, the Tat is never apart from the Tvam. The Tat is the Purna Vastu. The Jiva, the Tvam, imagines itself to be apart, imagines the world of so many enticements to be apart from the Tat. But the Guru Upadesha merges all the three. How it does? Take that I, which is your head, and merge it with the 2 feet of the lotus feet of the Guru, which is aware, which is pure consciousness that is present as the source of the I. Do not follow the thought that arises and get dragged away. But as soon as a thought arises, do Namaskaram. How to do? Let the thought go by asking, for whom is this thought? It is for me. What is my duty? My duty is to do Namaskaram to the source by asking, who am I? By putting that attention on the I is taken to the source. With repeated Namaskaram to the Guru's feet inside, Bhagavan says, the union with Guru's feet, the realization that Guru's feet alone exists, the Tat alone is, that realization becomes natural, and the I, Tannayala, Anniyam, Undrum Maria, our Nilamai, Innaden Runnal Levan. The one who has merged in that light, the Guru's feet, doesn't know anything other than the self. The I alone is. Till that is realized to be our very nature and effortlessly abided in. One should make the effort of turning away from the idam thought, which appears to take the I also away, and turn inward by asking, for whom is this thought? It is for me. Who am I? Is the prostration to the holy feet of Bhagavan, which is ever present as the pure consciousness inside. This union is the Asipada Tattvam, that which ever is. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us sit in this practice of Namaskaram to our Guru, the practice of Atma Ucharam for 10 minutes. Revathi, you can set the time for us. Namo Ramana. We continue this satsang by taking the second verse given to us. Verse number 520. Verse number 520. This is in the segment Meditation on the Truth, and the sub-segment is the fair nature of Mauna. Worshipping through silence, Mauna Upasana, the fair nature of Mauna. Worshipping through silence, Mauna Upasana, the fair nature of Mauna, verse number 520. Enthroning the Lord upon the seat of the heart and fixing the whole mind at his feet. Worship him as your own self without a sense of difference, because he is your own Swarupa. You should know that this true worship, performed naturally and without a break, is the fair nature of divine silence. Worshipping through silence, Mauna Upasana, the fair nature of Mauna, verse 520, enthroning the Lord upon the seat of the heart and fixing the whole mind at his feet. Worship him as your own self without a sense of difference, because he is your own Swarupa. You should know that this true worship, performed naturally and without a break, is the fair nature of divine silence. We saw Bhagavan take us to the real Namaskaram, and now he is taking us to real worship. Where is the altar? The altar is in the thought-free consciousness, the heart, where the seat of Bhagavan is the heart, and in that throne, Bhagavan, the existence consciousness, is seated magnificently. And having done Namaskaram to him by taking the eye thought to his holy feet, we have now started worshipping him through the silence, as the ego has nothing else to do but to be self-aware, to be aware of God's feet everywhere, at all times, and thus transcending time and place, birth and death. Having merged with the holy feet of Bhagavan, now the constant worship of Bhagavan is what is given by Bhagavan to us in this verse. The constant worship is by abiding in that union, is to not get away from that source. This is the Ananya Bhakti, to treat Bhagavan, who is seated in the throne of the heart. We are not apart from him. So, Veda Bhavana, Sohamityasau, Bhavana Bhida, Pavani Mataha. Bhagavan says in Upadesha Saram, how to do dhyana, Ajyadaraya, Srota Sasanam. That is how this verse finishes. The Abheda Dhyana, the Abheda Bhakti, that we are not apart from our source, should be continuous, the verse, and naturally performed, says the verse. In Upadesha Saram, that is how even dhyana is asked to be performed. When we take the Nama of Bhagavan to be apart from us, we start with japa, and that japa integrates us, and like a river, our whole life is now integrated in that japa, and having integrated the jiva bhava, that river of our life now seeks the dhyana, the merger in that one consciousness, which is Bhagavan, which is Ramana. There the japa now becomes dhyana, and that dhyana, where the river of the individual merges in the Ishwaratva of Ramana, the dhyana, how it is to be done? Ishvara obviously doesn't have breaks. So Bhagavan says, when you do dhyana of the Ishvara Nama as Ramana, let it be Ajyadharaya Srotasasamam Sarala Chintanam Viralata Param. Rather than break in our dhyana, the dhyana should be continuous, like flow of oil or the flow of a river coming down a mountain continuously. Ajyadharaya Srotasasamam Sarala Chintanam Viralata Param Veda Bhavana Soha Nityaso. Rather more beneficial or more direct than treating the God as something apart from us and doing dhyana on him, to treat God as our own very Swarupa, the form from which the I thought arises, the source from which I thought arises, and meditate as Abheda, Sohamityaso. I cannot be apart from you, the Purnavastu. To treat myself apart from you is the first error I am making. Keeping that error and meditating on you as something apart from me, but everything else, better than that, dhyana is to include myself also, that you are the perfect being. Whatever appears to me, that is you, and I am also you. Therefore, let me take the I thought to the source. That is Abheda Bhakti. Bhagavan says, Bhavashunya Sadbhava Sustitihi Bhavana Bala Bhakti Ruttama. Out of all the meditations, the who am I is the Uttama Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti is right from beginning. There is no bhavana that something apart from Bhagavan exists. That is true worship. Bhagavan says here that Abheda Bhakti, to know that one can never be, nothing can ever be apart from Bhagavan. Whenever a thought arises, we should understand that, oh, I have felt I am separate from Bhagavan. That is why I also feel this thought is separate from me. So this is false feeling, that thought is separate from me and I am separate from Bhagavan. So let me let go of this thought by asking, for whom is this thought? Then with the quest, who am I? Let me join at the feet of Bhagavan. And by holding that, Bhagavan says, Summair, be still. Even when thought is not arising, one should hold the I. One should hold the attention and the I at the source. That is Summairuttal. That Summairuttal, Bhagavan says in Upadesha Manjari, it is not laziness, it is not indolence. It is the perfect work. It is the fullness of effort. Because nothing more can be done by the jiva other than going and merging at its source. And to abide there in the source, effortlessly, having given up all the vasanas by giving up the thoughts and relentlessly holding the eye to the source, to the feet of Bhagavan, worshipping him continuously, one comes to this point where all the vasanas are exhausted and one is naturally and without a break, one is in the divine silence. The aham, aham, aham. Again, Tannayala, Anniyam Mundru, Ariyar. In the Mangala Shlokam to the translation of Atma Bodha, Bhagavan says, Anmava, Shankarana, Anmava Kanyam Avano, Anmavam Ennahatte Indru Tamil Solvanam Annavanandri Matrar. I have not quoted it properly, but the implication is that now who is Shankara? Can he be apart from the self? Can he be something apart from the self? He is only the self. And it is the same self within me, which was within Shankara and wrote Atma Bodha in Sanskrit, which is within me and is facilitating this writing of the same Atma Bodha in Tamil, indicating that the Jnani is so identified with the Atma that he doesn't feel apart from Shankara, apart from any of the great ones, because the I alone is. That is why we worship Bhagavan as Ishvara on the outside and as the self on the inside. And Bhagavan says, out of these two, better is the worship of Bhagavan seated in the throne of the heart and continuously keep the I thought at the source, initially with effort, erase all the vasanas, and without effort, the one in that oneness of Bhagavan, the self. This is true worship through Mauna, and that is the fairness. Now all the iniquities one sees in the world, all the right and wrong that one sees in the world, one feels the powerful oppress the weak, and one feels so many iniquities that is happening, but that is all only a film show. That is nothing but a cinema. And that cinema itself is nothing but you. You are yourself separating yourself from the source, making this whole cinema and getting involved in it and feeling you are a jiva. Absolutely, that is false. That is only the self, the I. All the characters in the cinema, from Hitler to Shankara, he is the self only, he is only the I. Whenever any thought comes, the I should naturally be there, effortlessly be there, because that cannot be anything but you. Thus one effortlessly abides in the self and continuously worships Bhagavan and understands that he is the absolute fairness. There is absolutely no iniquity in him. He is totally fair. This is the realization of fairness of Mauna through the Mauna worship. That all this unfairness that appears in the world is because of me arising as separate from that perfectness of source. Let me do my job and merge into that source, the feet of Bhagavan, and worship him continuously by abiding in the self. With Bhagavan's immense grace, let us sit in Atma Vicharam, the worship, the namaskaram to his feet, and the true worship of Bhagavan for 10 minutes. Revathi, you can set the time for us. Namo Ramana. I request our President, Akshardaka, to give us the summing of 2 months. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. We had 2 beautiful instructions from Bhagavan today. The first one about Tattvamasi. Nandakumarji dwelt on that for us. And I remembered Ganeshan Anna saying that he heard from one of the old devotees. I do not remember which of the old devotees. He said that Bhagavan actually stands for the Asi. Am. Of course, when you are, that is the R is plural in that translation when you put it into English. But Asi actually means am. I am. And we have in Ramanacentre Bengaluru that beautiful verse, Sadgunak Kadalana Nadgunan, Sajjanar Puhal Nidiyan, Arpuda Chuvayana Pahinan, Asipada Turuvanavan. He is of the very form of that Asi, that which is. That is also a statement which Nandakumarji finally, he brought us to that, though in the translation he said it means are, as he read it out. But he said is, that which is, the Asipadam, that is what Bhagavan is. And to offer worship to that by merging in that, by going back to that repeatedly is true namaskaram. Bhagavan says he never compromises on taking us back to the self. So it is that Asi Tattva which Bhagavan is. And Bhagavan also says, I am is the first name of God. He quotes from the Old Testament that Moses got, that when he asked, who are you? From whom am I receiving instructions? I am. I am. And actually, David Godman has written in one of his articles in the Mountain Path, he says that the phrase I am is actually what God was called. And when Jesus said, I am, it was considered to be blasphemy to use the name of God at that time. So even when he has said in that article, even when people came to imprison Jesus when he was betrayed, and they knocked on the door and asked, who is within? And Jesus replied, I am. And they all prostrated. The moment they heard that I am. So that is that I amness, which Bhagavan is, that I am in every one of us. And Bhagavan says that is so simple. That is our own very nature it is. So he wants us to be as that instead of being something else. One of the very beautiful gems in today's exposition was Nandakumarji telling that, see, when I see myself apart from God, I know I see myself apart from God because I have separated the world from myself. I have separated thoughts from myself. I say they are my thoughts. Sometimes I don't even say they are my thoughts. I feel they have come from somewhere and they are controlling me and I have nothing to do with them. And when this happens, then I see myself as separate from God as well, he said. That was very beautiful because there is no separation in the mind. But Bhagavan again is so kind, so loving, that he knows if he says that there is no separation at all, he says, Abheda Bhavana Sohamiti Abheda Bhavana is Bhakti Uttama, he says. But he allows us our weaknesses and converts them into strength. He allows the weakness that we think thoughts are apart from us. So he says, okay, the thoughts are yours, right? At least acknowledge that they are yours first. bring it to that level. Ask yourself, who am I? And then the answer will come that this. Ask yourself for whom the thoughts are, and the answer will come, the thoughts are mine. Okay, let them be. Let them be. They are yours, no? But you focus on what you are. Try to focus on what you are. It is so beautiful. The I is so beautiful. Why should we not value it? Why value only the idam, as Nandakumarji asked? Why value only the idam? Why value everything apart from the self? So turn your attention back. Actually, it is a wonderful experience, says Bhagavan. Sugakkadal punga, sol unarvu adanga, summa porundidangu. Sugakkadal punga, he says that the bliss, the sea of bliss is just welling up over there in that union. There is one small Zen story, maybe, I remembered. It's not even a story, it's just a small 3-liner kind of a thing. Then it said that someone went to her beloved and knocked on the door. And a voice came from within, who is there? And then she said, I am here. But the door did not open. Then the beloved went back and did some tapas and then came again and again knocked on the door and said, the voice came from within, who is there? And the answer was, you are there. And in that story, it goes that the door opened. But it would always seem to me that the door should not have opened even then. Because if I say you, that means I am also there to say you. In my story, I felt that the door did not open. And the beloved went back, and after tapas, probably did not even come, but in a way came and stood in front of the door in silence, and the door opened. So it is, in the union, there can only be silence. In union, there cannot be any speech. Only when there is duality, there is speech. And when there is duality, there are differences. When there is difference, there is something which is fair and something which is unfair. So Bhagavan says in Ashtakam, in raham puram irvina iral janmam inbu tunbu irul voli. Nothing is there. None of these are there. Yenum gana idayam. And when we are in that is the great, the wonder, the bliss of silence. And there is no unfairness. And all that, then there is no unfairness. That was I used to think fair. Fair means, something beautiful, something wonderful. And today again, it was a nice exposition where I said fair means that which is just, in which there is no injustice. It means there is no anxiety. There is no worry. Because all our worry is about injustice. All our worry is about adharma. In one way or the other. We feel somebody is not fair to us. We feel we have not been fair to somebody and we are disturbed. That's all it is. We feel life is not fair to us. Somewhere or the other we feel something is not fair. But when we understand that everything is fair, then that is a true worship. Because that's when we have, then there is silence. You see, when everything is fair also, there will be mauna. Mauna means everything is fair. When everything is known to be fair, there will be mauna. Because what is one to speak or complain about? Because again, Nandakumarji has earlier said that even a thought is a complaint actually. Every thought of ours arising is a complaint. It's something we are commenting about. If we are in complete understanding of fairness or of the love of the Supreme, then there will be silence. And that's what Bhagavan told to Mother Alagamma. He gave that as the worship. the true worship to Mother Aragamma, when he said Maunama Irikkai Nandru, he didn't simply say Maunama Irikkai Nandru. He could have told her Maunama Irikkai Nandru. If that alone is that is the gist of the saying, but he gave an explanation for it. He said, Adarkanavan Angangirunda Atiupan. Everything is happening as it should happen in every place. Angangirundu. Every space, every inch, every iota is filled with his presence, which is making things happen the way they are meant to happen. Therefore, you remain silent. Therefore, you surrender. And that, what can be greater worship than that? Because, as I said, if we rise, we rise because of desire. We rise because of inequality, because we feel something is incomplete. And when we are saying something is incomplete, we have already stopped worshipping. We have already dropped our faith because we think, oh, the Lord hasn't given me something, or He's not yet given, or will not give. Therefore, I have to ask. Therefore, I have to speak. Therefore, I have to move. Every movement is actually a complaint. Every movement is actually a non-acceptance of the great love, which Sadhu Om Swami says that Unnai vida unmel kavalai ulla peruman Ramananandro munnar idanai arindu vittal mudindadu ella sadhanayum. He says that actually Ramana cares for you more than you care for yourself. More than you care for yourself. How much we care for ourselves? Can anybody else care that much? So he cares for you more. When we realize that, and that is the case with each and every being in this world, he cares for them more than anyone else can care for them, then what is there to say? What is there to say? What is there to think about? And what great joy, that great joy is what Bhagavan, he says it is worship because he knows we want to worship him. He says in another context, he will say it is bliss. In another context, he will say it is peace. In this context, he says worship. If you want to worship me, if you want to love me, then get back to the self, because that is what I am. You cannot love somebody else and say you love me, no. You must love me if you want to love me. And who am I? Who is Ramana? He is the self. Ariyadi itara jeevara dahavari jaguhail arivairame paramatman arunachala Ramanan. So if we want to love Bhagavan, we must more even than if we want jnana. If we want to love Bhagavan, we must get back to the self. We must get back to the self. And for that, Bhagavan says self-inquiry is the easiest, it's the direct, it's the simplest. Come to me through this way. If not, in any case, by the surrender of understanding that everything is done by him in the best manner possible. Also, come to abide in the self, in the silence, in the true silence, which is also true worship, says Bhagavan. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramanaka.
Namo.
May I request Vaibhavji and Prarthnama to chant the Ashtotram for us? We can sit in Atma chant.
Namo Ramana. Bharatvaja Vishwanatha Vidachitam Sri Ramanashtottara Shatanamavalihi Apara Satchit Sukhavari Rashe Yasyormi Matram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Gabhiram Chantavihinam Rudachintayami Om Mahasena Mahum Sena Jataya Namaha Om Sri Ramanaya Namaha Om Gurave Namaha Om Akhanda Samvidakaraya Namaha Om Mahojase Namaha Om Karanodbhavaya Namaha Om Jagadhitaavataraya Namaha Om Sri Bhuminatha Sthalosthitaya Namaha Om पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थैलब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रधिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसम्ब्रह्माय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजतजलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलनिर्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिवृन्देन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्नसंशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमथस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः ॐ दर्शनादसंहारिणे नमः ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः ॐ हृच्छान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः ॐ संसारावतारकाय नमः ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः ॐ हातविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः ॐ गुहाय नमः ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः ॐ देवतमाय नमः ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः ॐ सेनान्ये नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवश तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनः सेकरात् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमः इदं लोकोत्तरे ज्योतिषे ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. Thank you, Vaibhavji Pratnama. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana. Namo Ramana.